Auckland band Racing are back with their second album, Must Be the Moon. Here's frontman Ed Knowles with the story behind this long-awaited second record.
The first recordings of it actually began in 2019.
Right.
That was a long process, but so it felt really, really good to get it out finally.
I'll bet it did. Yep. And I assume that long process was COVID related as well.
Yeah. Huge breaks in between. Usually in 4 years we'd probably do 2 records.
Right.
But with this, we sort of had to just make do with what we could do, because a lot of it's not just that we couldn't all be together. It's also that once the studios opened back up, everybody booked.
Right.
Everybody tried to book at the same time. And that's the same for, the last sort of 6 months of it were mainly because we couldn't get a tour to line up, because most of the venues had been booked as soon as those last restrictions were let off. So,
right. Yeah, and you recorded it just down the street here at the lab, right?
Yeah. We recorded at the lab with Joel Mulholland at the desk, who we've done a couple of records with him.
Right.
And he's always just such a fantastic guy to work with. Got lots of good ideas and always like positive if we want to try something a bit different. He's always down to follow us and
cool.
Allow us to kind of do our thing and just be the kind of genius behind it. Yeah.
So when was the actual record recorded then? When did you get into the
studio?
studio?
The first batch, I'm just trying to think which. So In Silver and some of the other ones were 2019.
Right.
Flashbacks and stuff like that were 2019. Yep. And then there was another batch and then another batch and then probably, so it was done in stages.
Right.
All the way up until the last batch, which was probably just earlier this year.
And so how did that process, which obviously is not ideal, affect what we hear and how you approach the songs and the performances and stuff?
I thought that perhaps it would affect it in a kind of way that would make it feel disjointed.
Right.
But I think because we did it all at the same place and all in the same sort of way, that it held together, even though it wasn't as much of a linear process as usual.
And it's self-produced again, so I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of you and Sven working together on the production, probably with Joel as the engineer. So who did what, and what kind of decisions were made by whom?
Well, I think we try to, on different days, different people have different ideas. So,
right.
All in all, I think we come at it as a group, and just find our way, really, because it's not like we're making the same sort of song each time. It's we're sort of figuring it out as we go a little bit and just letting ourselves be led by the music, I think. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All righty. But you mentioned In Silver, which sounds, so that was one of the early ones that you recorded, right?
Yeah.
So take me back to where the genesis of that tune, how did that come to be?
Well, I was sitting downstairs at my house, and it just honestly, I got asked this question the other day on the radio, and the truthful answer is I didn't really have that much to do with it. It just appeared in my guitar, and I took it round to Sven's house, and he added the B section and added just all the so he sort of figured out how it would kind of work, and then we kind of put it to bed. And then when we were in the studio, we thought, hey, how about that song that we did the other day? So it wasn't a priority. It was just kind of something we had in our pocket. And we just went in there, and it just worked out really well. Like it got this great momentum in the studio, and somehow it just flew. It just wanted to go. It wanted to work, and um, everything just felt really easy. And then I took the verse off and put a new verse on as we were recording. And the first verse on the actual recording is me figuring it out. So it's what you're hearing had never been written. That was it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Does that happen very often like that, your songwriting?
No, not really.
No?
Not really, no.
And to my ears, as soon as I heard the intro, it sounds like a hit record. It was going to be a single. Did it feel like that for you?
Yeah, I think we were. I think because in our heads we hadn't really planned for it to play that role, but yeah, it just sort of became that. It just wanted to work, didn't it? So
right.
Yeah.
So you and Sven have been together for years. You're kind of the nucleus of this band, the Czechs. You go way back. So what is it that brings the two of you together and keeps you together, working together like this?
We always have a really good time when we write. So it never feels like we're working.
Right.
And I don't think you can get that with that many people.
Right.
So I think when you find a writing partner like that, you don't really think about anything doing it differently.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had this kind of imposed, especially you weren't on the road for a long time because of COVID. And I get the feeling you're a band that likes to play. So what did that do to you kind of individually and collectively as a band during that time?
I think at the start it was a good thing, just because we wrote lots of songs and we got to try what it would be like if you just got to write and you had nothing else, in the way, which was, something I'd always wondered about, what it would be like to have more time to write. So that was really good. But I think there's a kind of element to our band that is just connected to pubs and the nightlife and playing live shows. And I think after a while we became dehydrated from that, we didn't have enough of that in our sort of musical lives. So I think after a while it got a bit old and we just needed to go back.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you still kind of rehearse regularly and get together regularly, or did you kind of had to find other things to do with yourselves?
When we could, but obviously we weren't all in the same bubble, so it was tough.
Yeah.
But we got there,
Yep.
and the record is out, and that's just such a there were times where we thought, gosh, this is just taking such a long time. But here we are, we made it.
Right. So you've done a few gigs now in the last couple of months, or what was it like to get back on stage?
It was great. It was really, really good. And maybe less so even for us, but just seeing the joy on people's faces to be out was, that's enough energy to feed a good show.
Gotcha.
Because they all want it.
Right. So you got a tour that starts at the end of this month, and you're going to be headlining the Power Station. So tell folks kind of what they're going to be in store for.
Well, I mean, a massive release of energy, I think, because as we've said, it's taken a long time. So I think we all just really want to pin one to the wall here, and it's the first time that we've ever headlined the Power Station as Racing.
Right.
So for us, that's something that we are pretty keen to do, and feel like we should be doing that. So that's an exciting sort of cherry on top at the end of the tour.
Cool. Now, one tune I think my favorite one on the album is called Hips.
Oh, yeah, cool.
I'm wondering if you can give me some insights into how that one came about.
I need to go out. Yeah, we need to go out. When you ride the Bronco, put your hands up. We need to go out. I need to go out. When you kick the longo, put your hands up. Get rockin' on, man, rockin'. Get rockin' on, man, rockin'. Get rockin' on, man, rockin'. 1, 2, feel alive.
Yeah, well, I think Sven and I don't know if it's like a generational issue or whatever, but we've sort of always had in our mind that we would love a kind of a sort of big beat, kind of something that feels a bit more cut up. We listened to like a lot of Fatboy Slim and stuff like that when we were growing up, and so that kind of area is something that's always kind of been in our sort of collective imagination of like we've been trying to like find a tune like that.
Yep.
And when Sven came up with that, the music side of that, I just knew it needed some kind of repetitive melody that sounded like it had been chopped. Like it sounded like it was a sample, even though it's just me singing it over and over again.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's that feeling of being chopped, but that we really wanted to capture. Yeah.
Right. And the band, the sound of the band overall. I mean, there's obviously rock, there's funk in there, there's a bit of disco. Do you guys talk about how you want to present yourself and be perceived, or you just kind of go in and see what happens?
I think that we kind of know the area that we're sort of playing in, and then we just let it do its own thing, really. Anything that I think we zero in on, anything that feels kind of hypnotic, and like it's going to work live, because I think we think about racing more as a live show that tours, and the songs supplement the show,
right?
If you know what I mean. So we're always thinking about it in a live context. So that's probably like the main driver of what we're how we sort of envision what we want to come.
All right. So what makes a good gig for you? Is it your performance, the sound on stage, the audience reaction, all of the above, none of the above, the venue? What works for you guys?
I probably just connection, I think. Connect when the crowd and the band come together, and it bounces back and forth.
Right.
Whenever that happens is whenever we come off stage and feel the best.
Right.
You can have great sound, but if you don't have that like thing with the crowd, you just don't feel the same afterwards. But I think when you connect with people, and it could be on an acoustic guitar to 3 people, it doesn't really matter. I think that's probably the biggest thing that we look for. Yeah.
Right. So with the big wide gap between the 2 albums, is there a cache of songs waiting to be recorded at this point? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We've got lots of new ideas that we want to get done pretty quickly, and are sort of planning it in a way that we don't take another 4 years.
Well, fingers crossed, right?
Yeah.
Who knows what's happening next? Yeah. All righty. Very good. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at the Power Station. It's got to be kind of a big deal being headlining the Power Station. I mean, in my personal opinion, it's the best venue in the country. So
yeah,
it's always a great
it's
show.
good, isn't it? I saw Tove Lo in there the other night, and
right.
It was
How was that?
It was packed out, and it was good to see Auckland like having it.
Yep.
Excellent.
All righty. Well, thanks for taking time talking to me.
Thanks so much, Marty.
Thank you. Good luck with everything.
Yeah, cheers.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Hey.
All right. Bye-bye.